There's a Rashi in Divrei Hayomim that says that whenever Jews get together to say kinos and to mourn various tragedies that occurred in Jewish history, as we do on Tisha B'Av, there is a takana from the Nevi'im Rishonim that a kina for Yoshio HaMelech has to be added. And on Tisha B'Av we have such a kina, Vayikonein Yirmiyahu al Yoshio. It always bothered me, what happened to Yoshio was not the greatest tragedy in Jewish history. So why is it imperative that whenever we mourn tragedies, you have to include a kina, a eulogy for Yoshio HaMelech? Briefly, Yoshio HaMelech was the first real Baal Tshuva. His grandfather was Menashe, Rasha. His father was Ammon, a bigger Rasha. And he became a Baal Tshuva. He became a tzaddik. And he started the first Kiruv movement. And he sent soldiers around Klal Yisrael to eradicate the idolatry that existed. And he thought he was successful. But the Leitzonei Hador, the scoffers, fooled him. And they used to put their idolatry on double doors. And when the soldiers would open the doors, they wouldn't see the idolatry. When they left and the doors closed, there was the idol again. So when Paro Necho asked Yoshio permission to pass through Eretz Yisrael in order that his armies could engage the Assyrians, Yoshio said, "I'm sorry, but we have a bracha that when the Jewish people are all serving the Rabbanu Shalom," which he thought was the case, then v'cherev lo savar ba'artzachem, God promised us that no sword will pass through our land, even not against us, but even to pass through to another war that has nothing to do with us. Yirmiyahu HaNavi told Yoshio he's making a mistake. First of all, the situation isn't as he believed, that he brought the Jewish people to serve the Rabbanu Shalom. They fooled him. And secondly, the Rabbanu Shalom wants the Egyptians to go through Eretz Yisrael and to fight Assyria. That's the Rabbanu Shalom's will. Yoshio didn't accept what Yirmiyahu said. He said, "I know better." I can also read a Rashi, and it says, when we're on this level, "B'cherev lo savar ba'artzachem," and he refused to let Paro go through his land. Paro was incensed, and he told his soldiers, "We're going through anyway. I have no bone of contention with the Jewish people, only with the king. So you find him and make him the target for all your spears and arrows." And that's what they did. They filled his body with 300 spears, and his last words were, Yirmiyahu went on to the battlefield, and he heard the last words of Yoshio, Tzadiku Hashem kipiu morisi, and he accepted the fact that he sinned, and therefore he was killed. And Yirmiyahu composed the 4th chapter of Eicha as a eulogy for Yoshio. In general, that's the tzara of Yoshio. I was thinking, why didn't the people listen to Yoshio? Why wasn't he successful in his tshuva movement, in inspiring the Jewish people to give up their idolatry? I'll tell you why. Because in Klal Yisrael there's a pecking order. There's the Gadol Hador, who the Gedolei Yisrael have to listen to. And then there are the Rabbanim who have to listen to Gedolei Yisrael. And then there are Balabatim who have to listen to their Rabbanim. If you listen to the person you're responsible to, then the people who are responsible to you will listen to you. If Yoshio had listened to Yirmiyahu, the Maggid from Vilna makes a very astute observation. Says that when Peretz and Zerach were born, twins, so Peretz put out his hand Then his hand came back, and Zerach put out his hand, and then Peretz pushed his way out first. Chazal say that from Zerach came the Nevi'im, the prophets. From Peretz came the kings. He says that's how a king and a prophet have to function together. The prophet points the way, and the king then breaks out and accomplishes what the prophet says to do. Yoshio should have listened to Yirmiyahu, should have taken direction from him, because he didn't know how to listen to the person he was responsible to listen to. The people who were responsible to listen to him didn't listen to him. And therefore I think it's extremely important to be involved in Kiruv, to understand what it means to be a leader and what it also means to be a follower. And if everyone would understand how to be the leader they're supposed to be, at the same time how to be the follower to the leaders they're supposed to follow, then the Kiruv movement will be a lot more successful. I want to start with a medrash in discussing leadership. What does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to be a follower? The medrash is in this past week's Sedra, or if you're from Chutz La'aretz, it's the next week's Sedra. The medrash says like this: Moshe Rabbeinu is told that he's imminently going to die, and he begs the Rabbanu Shalom to appoint a replacement. Yifkod Hashem Elokei Aruchos Ishal Ha'edo Asher Yetzei Lifneihem V'Asher Yovo Lifneihem. And the Rabbanu Shalom, the medrash says, tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Ad Shetetzaveini Al Bonai, before you tell me what I should do for my children, Tetzave Bonai Olai, tell my children what they should do for me. And immediately after that is the parsha of Korbanos, the sacrifices we bring daily, Keves Echad Baboker and Keves Echad Bein Orbayim, and all the sacrifices of Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos and all the Yomim Tovim. So basically God is saying, you want me to do something for my children, first you do something, tell my children to do something for me. And the medrash gives a mashal. There was a queen who was dying. She calls her husband, the king, in, and she says, promise me that after I die, you will take care of our children. And the king says, instead of telling me what to do with our children, why don't you tell the children that you should have the proper respect for me, what they should do for me? Similar to what the Rabbi told Moshe Rabbeinu. Very difficult medrash. In order to understand this medrash, we really have to understand what I said, what a leader is and what followers are, and then we'll understand this medrash very well. When the Jewish people thought that Moshe Rabbeinu had left them, he disappeared, didn't come back 40 days, as he said he would come back after Matan Torah. They thought that he either died or he became an angel, he's not coming back. So they came to Aaron HaKohen and they wanted a replacement. That was the Chet HaEgel. They didn't want God. They wanted a power that would take the place of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what the Torah says. Ku masei lonu Elohim, make us a power, asher yelchu lefanenu, that will go before us. Why? Ki zeh Moshe ha'ish, lo yodanu mehoyalo. We don't know what happened to Moshe. We need a replacement. How did they describe Moshe Rabbeinu's job description? Asher yelchu lefanenu, somebody who'll go before us. When Moshe Rabbeinu described his job description in last week's Sedra, he described it completely different. He asked the Rabbanim to appoint a successor, Asher Yetzei Lifneihem, who will go out before them, Asher Yovo Lifneihem, who will come before them, Asher Yotzieim, Asher Yivieim, who will bring them out and bring them in. What's the difference between these two job descriptions of a leader? There's a Gemara in Bava Basra. The Gemara says if someone has lo aleinu, someone sick in their home, they should go to a chacham and yispalel olav, and the chacham should be yavakish rachamim olav. Simple meaning, and that's the way the Nemukei Yosef learns the Gemara. should go to a chacham and he'll daven for the sick person, that he should recover. And he says that's why in France they had the minhag to say Mishaberachs on Shabbos for sick people, because that's when the Talmidei Chachamim would come to shul, and they would answer Amen to the Mishaberach, and you fulfill the idea of having the Talmidei Chachamim pray for this sick person. The Meiri says a completely different idea. The Meiri says if you have someone sick in your home, lo aleinu, you should go to a chacham and he'll teach you how to daven for that sick person. You're not going to do it for you. We all have, just heard the previous speaker, we're all God's children. We all have a direct line to the Ribono Shel Olam. We don't need a Talmid Chacham to daven for us. But maybe it's an anachronism. Not everybody knows how to dial. For those who are young and don't know what I'm talking about, there used to be phones that you dialed, right? But maybe today you don't know how to push the buttons. Okay. So you need a chacham to teach you how to push the buttons. Maybe it'll take a while to teach you, and the person may drop dead by the time he teaches you how to daven. So even the Mukhe Yosef may agree that the goal is he should teach you how to daven. But until he can do that, he'll daven for you. But the goal of a leader is not to do it for you. That's what the Jewish people thought. Asher yelchu lefaneinu. The leader goes before us, and he does it for us. He blazes the trail. For that, a golden calf is enough. All you need is some kind of power. The power can go and do it for you. Moshe Rabbeinu understood that's not what a leader is. A leader is not somebody who does it for you. It's somebody who teaches you how to do it. How to do the same things he can do, but he teaches you how to do it. And therefore, you need a human being. An ego won't work. You need somebody who knows people, who knows their strengths and their weaknesses, and who can therefore lead people and teach them to do what he is capable of doing because of his knowledge. So that is the first foundation of leadership. A leader is not somebody who does it for you. A leader is somebody who ultimately teaches you and shows you how to do it. Now, how does he do that? Korach made a very big mistake. He claimed that the Jewish people didn't need leaders in the status that they were. What did he say? Kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim uvesocham Hashem umadua tisnasu al kahal Hashem. Korah said the entire Jewish people are holy, and God is in the midst of them, and therefore we don't need leaders. Why are you putting yourself above the people? We don't need you. What was he saying? The following. There are two designations of a community, of a tzibur. There's a kahal and there's an eda. The kahal literally is a congregation. Congregation means that people congregate together in one place, and they do things together as a unified community. There's strength in numbers. The There's no comparison of individuals doing a mitzvah and when you do it as a unified community, doing a mitzvah together. People need a social structure to be able to function well. So there's a concept of kahal, of a kohalu ha'yehudim. What unites them is they're all in the same proximity. They're all physically in the same place, doing the same thing at the same time. That's the strength of numbers. That's one kind of community. So you need a leader to unite them. The Rambam says that the Melech, the ultimate leader, is like the heart of the Jewish people. He is the focal point around which everyone unites, uses him as the unifying factor. Vayehi bishur Melech b'isasef roshei om yachad shivtei Yisrael. When the Melech is there, everybody can gather around one central figure and unite physically. That's the kahal. And that's one function of a leader, to be a unifier. Then there's the Eidah. The Eidah is unified not because everyone is in the same place, but perhaps Eidah comes from the word Eidus. What unifies them is that they all testify to the same values, the same goals. That's what unites them. They can be scattered around the world, but they're unified because common purpose, common ideas, common values, common goals. It's one idea of an Eidah. Thinking perhaps another idea is the word Ya'ad means a destination. If you go to Ben Gurion Airport and look up at the big board where it says in English destination, in Hebrew it says Ya'ad. An Eidah is everybody has the same goal, the same destination. They're all going the same place because they have the same values and the same standards and so on. The purpose of the leader is to teach them common values and common goals and raise their level towards what the ideals and principles and ideas should be. Teaches them to raise their level and to have the right ideas, ideals, and goals. And therefore, Korach said, we don't need leaders. We don't need a Kohen Gadol who is going to elevate the spirituality of the Jewish people, because Kol ha'Eidah kulam kedoshim. From the side of an Eidah, all the Jewish people have reached the peak of holiness. So we don't need an Aaron HaKohen to make us holy. We are holy. Everyone's reached that peak. Kol ha'Eidah kulam kedoshim. And ubesocham Hashem. We don't need a leader to be the unifying factor, the focal point, because we have somebody else who's the unifying factor, the Rabbanu Shalom. We have the Mishkan with God's presence in our midst, and that gives people common purpose. It gives them something to unify around. So, uvesocham Hashem, umadua tisnasu al kahal Hashem. So why do we need you, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Melech, to be the focal point around which the people unite? We don't need you. We have something better than you. We have the Rabbanu Shalom himself, whose presence resides amongst the Jewish people and gives them something to unite around. That was Korach's time. What was his mistake? His mistake is that there is a third aspect to the community, to the tzibur. There's Kahal, there's Eidah, and there's Yisrael. That's a third aspect of what a community is, Yisrael. What is that third aspect? The Zohar HaKadosh says that Yisrael is Rashi Tevos. It's the first letters of the following words. Yesh Shishim Ribui Osios LaTorah. There are 600,000 letters to the Torah. And that, the first letters of those words spell Yisrael. That's Yisrael. Beautiful idea. There's 600,000 root souls of the Jewish people, clusters of souls. Everybody is part of one of those clusters. So 600,000 root souls of the Jewish people, and there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, and every root soul has its letter. Every Jew has his letter in the Torah. Beautiful. There's only one big problem. There aren't 600,000 letters in the Torah. So you'll tell me, okay, it's a gematria. Plus 1 or 2 doesn't make that much of a difference. How many letters are there in the Torah? 304,855. I didn't count them. You can look at the end of the Chumash, it says that. That is like half of 600,000. Unless we have the Reader's Digest condensed version of the Torah, something's missing. So how in the world could the Zohar say that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah when there are only 300,000 letters in the Torah? The Pnei Yoshua in Kedushin, if you want to look at it in Lamed Aleph, asked this question, and he gives 2 answers there. I know about 11 answers to this question. But in my estimation, there is no question. And if there's no question, you don't need any answers. The question would only be, if it said, Yesh Shishim Ribui Osios Batorah. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah. But if it said that, it wouldn't spell Yisrael. It would spell Yisroab. In order to spell Yisrael, it has to read Yesh Shishim Ribui Osios La Torah, which has me believe the following. There's another Zohar, which you're all familiar with as a song. Yisrael, the Oraisa, the Kudsha Brichu Chadhu. The Jewish people and the Torah and the Rabbanu Shalom are one. That means that the Torah is incomplete unless you add the Jewish people to that Torah. The Jewish people is represented by 600,000 root souls. So Yesh Shishim Ribui Osios, in addition to the 300,000 written letters in the Torah, you have to add another 600,000 letters, not ones of ink on parchment, but 600,000 letters that are the Jewish souls to make that Torah complete. Because Yisrael v'Oraisa Chadhu, because the Jewish people and the Torah are one. So that's what it means. Yeshishim Ribui Osios La Torah. There are 600,000 letters that you have to add to the written Torah to make it a complete Torah. And just like every letter in the Torah is unique, because even though there are only 22 different letters, but every letter is defined by its location. The Beis in Bereshis is not the same as the Beis in Bara, because the Beis in Bereshis is preceded by nothing, and it's followed by the whole Torah. The Bara is preceded by a word Bereshis, and not the whole Torah after it. Every letter is unique, and every Jew is unique. And unless every Jew is there, then the Sefer Torah isn't complete. Because if one letter is missing from the Torah is also not complete. So that's what it means. Yesh Shishim Ribui Osios La Torah. The idea being that every Jew is a precious letter in that Torah. And every Jew is unique and every Jew is necessary. Bothered me though, that number 600,000 is still only the number of the Jewish people. It doesn't include Shevet Levi. The Levium were not counted in that 600,000. So don't the Levium count? Aren't they letters in that totality of Torah? So I was thinking that aside from letters in the Torah, there's also something else. There's what's called sirtut. Sirtut are the lines that are indented in the parchment, that if you don't have parchment with indented lines on which you write the letters, the top of the letter is on the line, the Sefer Torah is not kosher. So I was thinking maybe the Levium are the sirtut. They're the lines on which you write the letters. They're the leaders. Yoru Mishpatecha, the Levium are the leaders, are the teachers. What's the purpose of the lines? It's in order to keep the letters straight and to give them something to look up to. Those are the Levium. Those are the leaders. They keep the Jewish people straight and they give them something to look up to. But they also serve another function. And that function is to unite them where each one can contribute their unique part to what Klal Yisrael is. That's the third kind of unity, the third aspect of a community. There's everybody doing everything together physically. There's people professing the same ideas and ideals. And then there is the need for each one to contribute his unique part towards the totality of Klal Yisrael. And the truth is that there is no perfection in this world unless it's a group effort. Nothing in this world except the Rabbanu Shalom is perfect. Everything is imperfect and needs other things to perfect it, and it helps to perfect other things. And that's on every sphere. The Sforno points out that every day of creation, the Rabbanu Shalom said, Vayar Elokim ki tov, he saw it was good. On Friday it says, Vayar Elokim es kol asher asa, v'hinei tov ma'od. The Rabbanu Shalom saw everything he made and it was very good. Says the Sforno, What transformed all these good things into something very good? You have a lot of good things now. Why is it now very good? I'll give you an example to what he says. Take an automobile and break it down into its components. Where I live, they do this often. So you have now car parts strewn out on the lawn. And you have various components of a car. You have a horn, you can use it for a musical instrument. You have seats, you can use it for furniture. You have a gas tank, you can use it to store liquids. Spark plugs, you can use to light a fire, and so on. Each thing has a function, and it's good. But when you put it all together, and it forms a functioning automobile, the automobile is better than the sum of its parts. That's very good. The world, each thing that the Rabbi created was good. It had a function. But when he put it all together, and now you have a functioning universe, now it's very good. So in the physical world, nothing can achieve everything. You need a team effort between all the different components of the world to reach towards perfection. Same thing goes in the social world. If everybody in this world would be doctors, we'd have a very healthy world. But who would take out the garbage? And if everybody were garbage men, we'd have a very clean world. Who would heal the sick? So in order for the world to reach perfection, you need all different kinds of occupations and professions. And when they each one contribute their unique part, the world reaches towards perfection. But it's not only in the physical and social world, it's in the spiritual world too. We pride ourselves that we received the Torah, we accepted a Torah of 613 mitzvahs. That is a fallacy. There is no human being that could ever fulfill 613 mitzvahs. Not because it's too difficult, it's impossible. Because certain mitzvahs are only for Kohanim. So if you're not a Kohen, you don't have 613 mitzvahs. So what do you tell me? A Kohen has 613 mitzvahs. No. Because there are certain mitzvahs that are only for non-Kohanim. A Kohen will never fulfill the mitzvah of Pidyon Haben as a father. He's exempt from it. So if you're a Kohen, you have mitzvahs that no regular Jew or a Levi has. And if you're a regular Yisrael, you have mitzvahs that no Kohen could ever have. If you're a man, you have mitzvahs that no woman could ever do physically. But if you're a woman, you have mitzvahs that no man could ever do. At least in my lifetime, I'm hoping that no man will ever bring the sacrifice after childbirth. It is not a man's mitzvah. So, unless you're a Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, man, woman wrapped into one, which today may be possible, but under normal circumstances was not, you can't have Taryag mitzvahs. So what is this fallacy, this myth of 613 mitzvahs? The answer is we did not receive the Torah as individuals. We received the Torah ke'ish echad b'lev echad, one unified nation. And as one unified nation, we have 613 mitzvahs. Some of us have these mitzvahs and some other mitzvahs, and together we have 613 mitzvahs. So it's important not only to be a kahal, and not only to be an Eidah, but to be also Yisrael. And the example I'd like to give is the following. Why a leader is important, even if the entire Jewish people are holy, and they all are united around God, you still need a leader. The example, I think, is a symphony orchestra. You have a symphony orchestra, every single musician is an expert on his musical instrument. And he is paid to be at the symphony. So he has a reason to be there. He doesn't need anybody to unite him and bring him to the concert hall. So they don't need leaders to teach them how to play their instruments. They don't need leaders to unite them. But you still have a maestro. You still have a conductor. Why? What does he do? He makes sure that they are coordinated one with the other. And that the instrument that's supposed to play now doesn't play at a different time and ruin the whole symphony. So he's not there to teach them how to play. He may be there to help them bring out their best. but he's there to coordinate between them, that each one contributes his unique part at the right time, in the right way, in the right place, in order that perfection should come from all of them together. That's the third purpose of a leader. He's not only there to teach you and elevate you. He's not only there to give you someone to rally around. He's there to coordinate the unique talents of each and every one and see to it that they are coordinated, each one contributing his part and benefiting from all the other parts. In that respect, the Jewish people is made of many, many different factions. Many different factions, and they're all necessary. Somebody once asked the Chafetz Chaim, wouldn't it be better if all Jews were the same? They dressed the same, they spoke the same, they had the same customs, and not like we have today. We have Ashkenazim and Sfardim and Misnagdim and Hasidim and a host of other differences. Now, it doesn't say in the story which way was he referring to that he wanted everybody to do. I'll tell you which way, his way. Whatever he was, that's what he wanted everybody to be. The Chafetz Chaim said, why are you asking me this question? Go ask the Tsar why he has so many different divisions in his armies. He has a navy and a cavalry and an infantry and an air force. Wouldn't it be more streamlined, much easier if everybody had the same uniforms, everybody was either in the air, in the sea, or on the ground? Why so many different positions and different uniforms? Says the Chafetz Chaim, you know what the Tsar will tell you? It would surely be more streamlined if everybody was in the same place, in the same uniform, doing the same thing. But I'd never win a war. In order to win a war, I have to cover all bases. The Jewish people are God's army. And in order to be able to function properly, we need all kinds of Jews. More than that, Chafetz Chaim, but before him, Rabbi Akiva Eiger already said the same idea on this Gemara. The Gemara is in the end of Maseches Tainis. I always like to say that if we would just fulfill what this Gemara says, it would be the end of all fast days. We wouldn't have to fast anymore. Mashiach would come for sure. What's the Gemara say in the end of Tainis? Lasid Lavo HaKadosh Baruch was going to make a great dance, a big circle for all the tzaddikim. And he's going to sit in the middle, and all the tzaddikim are going to point to the middle. Zeh Elokeinu, this is the God we waited for. Chafetz Chaim says sounds like romper room. Right? This is Olam Haba, big circle around the Ganenet in the middle, and everybody's pointing their finger and dancing around the Rabbanu Shalom. He says what it means is the following. In this world, there are all different kinds of tzaddikim. Everybody learns Torah, and they do chesed, and they daven. But the question is, what's the emphasis? So there are some tzaddikim who emphasize Torah learning. But amongst them, there's all different kinds of emphasis of Torah learning. There's people who learn Agada, and people who learn Pilpul, and people who have, even the people who learn Gemara. There's the Telzer Derech, and the Mirror Derech, and the Brisker Derech, very different. Some people learn deep, and some people learn shallow, and some people learn fast, and some people learn slow. And that's just the people who emphasize Torah, all these different possibilities, different nuances. And then there are tzaddikim who emphasize tefillah. They learn Torah, and they do chesed, but their main thing is avodah. And there's people who daven this nusach, and some a different nusach, and some daven fast, and some daven slow, and some daven loud, and some daven low. And that's just the people who emphasize avodah. And then there's tzaddikim who emphasize chesed. They learn, and they do, and they daven, but their emphasis is on chesed. And there's all kinds of chesed groups. People who deal with poor people, and people who deal with sick people, and people who deal with widows and orphans. All different kinds of chesed organizations. And everybody thinks that their path is the one that hits the bullseye, and everybody else is out in left field somewhere. In the future, God is going to make a very big circle, and He's going to be in the middle. And you could have a tzaddik over here and another tzaddik 180 degrees on the other side. Completely different path. But where's the Rabbanu Shalom? In the middle, and all the radii to the center from the circumference of the circle are equal. There's one condition. You have to be on the circle. If your feet are not on the circle, then you're not equidistant to the Rabbanu Shalom. But if you're on the circle, which is defined by believing in Torah Shebechsav and Torah Shebal Peh and the Yud Gimel Ikrehu Emunah, and you have a Masorah, then you're on the circle. And you could be here and someone else 180 degrees, completely different derech. But the Rabbanu Shalom's in the middle and all the drachim are equal. Somebody once told me, it doesn't say a circle, it says a dance. That means in the future everybody's going to go around the circle and experience everybody else's derech. But in this world you have to have one derech. You have to appreciate who you are, what your Masorah is. But you have to be able to tolerate somebody else's derech too. That's part of what Achdus is. Everybody realizing that they have a unique part to contribute and they benefit from the unique parts that everybody else contributes. But not everybody has to be doing the same thing, the same way, at the same time. It's interesting. The Yontif in the year, whose essence is unity, is Purim. Now, Purim is Kimu v'Kiblu HaYehudim. Right, Purim is the Yontif where we make Ava, Achva, Vareus, we send Shalach Manas. Isn't it interesting that Purim is the only holiday in the year that all Jews don't celebrate on the same day? Some on the 14th and some on the 15th. That's unity. Unity is not where everybody's doing the same thing. It's where we're doing the same thing for the same reason, but not necessarily in the same exact way, in the same exact time. That's what Purim is. Just as an aside, I once, when is this supposed to finish? I don't want to keep people here. I have enough problems in the next world. I don't need people coming and saying, he made me fast extra, right? I was hungry, and I'm going to have to take that too. So what time is this over? Exactly. Mine is what? 8:06. Okay. You can be assured that at 8:06 I will not be standing up here speaking. But until then, you can be assured I will. When I first came to Eretz Yisrael, our ganenet in Matityahu was a Moroccan woman. She had a very difficult life. She's married, divorced, didn't have any children. Finally, she got married again, and she had her first child, a Bechor, a firstborn son. And everybody in the Moshav, there weren't too many people in the Moshav altogether then, but everybody went to the bris in Yerushalayim. And then they had a pidyon haben. The pidyon haben was to be had in Kiryat Gat. Now, I just come to Israel. I just got in a car. Kiryat Gat was like the other side of the moon. I had no idea where it was, and getting there was a very big deal. So I wasn't sure if I was going to go to the pidyon haben, but the mother begged me. She said, please, we want you very much to be by the pidyon haben. So I made an effort. Before I went, one of the people on the Moshav who had been in Eretz Yisrael a few years already said to me, listen, be very careful when you get to the pidyon haben what you eat. I said, why? I know the mother, her standards of kashrus are impeccable. Why should I be careful? He said, nothing to do with kashrus. Moroccans love to eat hot, spicy foods. You're an American. And even though the difference between a Moroccan and American is a little olive, right, you will not be able to stomach the food that they have. So be very careful. I took that to heart, more to stomach. And I went to the pidyon haben, and I called the mother over, and I said, look, I've been warned that you Moroccans eat very hot, spicy foods. I don't think I can take that. So do me a favor. I'm going to look over to the women's section before each course. And if it's really hot and spicy, I want you to point down like this, and I'll know not to eat it. She said, no, there's no problem. We also know you're an American, and you can't stomach hot, spicy foods. So we made everything bland in your honor. On the one hand, I felt good, and all these people are cursing me out because I have to eat bland food because of me. In any case, I felt good. At least I can eat. So they served the first course, which is some fish with red sauce on it. And I see people are eating it like it's water. So I took a mouthful of this, and my tongue immediately disintegrated. This is not an exaggeration. This is exactly how it was. But my reflexes, unfortunately, made me swallow it. And at that moment, my whole life went before me. Because I imagined that within seconds, this is going to burn out my entire kishkes, and that's it, I'm finished. This is the end of my life. I saw my children and my wife, and I had tremendous sorrow. The fact that they're going to have to ship my body back now to Matityahu because I died eating this fish with the red sauce. I took a pitcher of water and downed it in a few gulps. And these people are looking at me and saying, but it's bland. I learned from that, first of all, don't trust Moroccans. And second of all, I learned from that that everybody has a different taste in food. I guarantee you that a Moroccan Purim Suda is not the same thing as an American Purim Suda, and a Persian Purim Suda is not the same thing as somebody from the Deep South, and so on and so on. Everybody has their style of eating and has to make their Purim Suda the way that they enjoy. But you have to be able to take two things from somebody else's style and incorporate it in your meal. That's achdus. That's unity. Everybody has their unique part to contribute to Klal Yisrael, their unique derech, and if it's on the circle, that's fine. So that is what a tzibur is, and that's the purpose of a leader. The leader is there to teach you and guide you and coordinate you and give you something to rally upon. Why don't people want to be part? Why don't they want to be followers? Why don't they want to be part of a tzibur? You can't exist on your own. Everybody needs a community. Everybody needs a social structure to give them strength. So Hillel in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos said, "Al tifrosh minat tzibur." Don't separate yourself from the community. And then he said four other things that don't seem to have any connection to each other or to this. He said, "Al tamin ba'atzmecha ad yom moscha." Don't believe in yourself till you die. Ve'al tovnis chavercha shetagil l'mkomo. And don't judge someone else till you come to their place. Ve'al tomer al dover sheyefshel l'shmoa shesofa lishama. And don't say on something that can't be heard that in the end it will be heard. And al tomer l'chshe'efne eshne Hashem lo sipon. And don't say when I have time I'll learn, because maybe you'll never have the time. Do it now. Very nice things, but do they have connection? So I was thinking, Hillel said one thing. Al tifrosh minat tzibur. Don't separate yourself from the community. Everyone needs a leader, and everyone needs to be a follower, and everybody needs to interact with others socially and religiously. Can't do it on your own. But there are four excuses that people have, says Hillel, that I'm going to answer why they don't want to be part of a community. First excuse, I don't need a community. Community is for weak people who need a social structure to be able to function. I'm strong enough on my own. On that, Hillel said, "Al tamin ba'atzmecha ad yom moscha." Don't trust in yourself till you die. As long as you're alive, you need other people. Second reason people say they don't want to be part of a community, they say, "I'd love to be part of a community, but I haven't found a community that's really fit for me, because they're all no good. This one's no good and that one's no good." So Hillel said, maybe you're right, but Al tadnis chavercha shetagia l'mkomo. First, you be part of the community and get a close look at these people, and you may find out they're not as bad as you think they are from afar. You may find out they're worse than you thought they were, right? And then, you shouldn't be part of that community. But don't make the decision until you get involved. Third excuse. People say, "I'd love to be part of a community. I've given the community tremendous advice and never listened to me. Why in the world would I want to be part of a community of idiots who don't listen to good advice?" And that Hillel said, "Al tomer al dover sheyefshel lishmoa." Don't say on something that's impossible to be heard. Maybe it's not good advice. That's why they don't listen to you. Don't assume that whatever you say, in the end, they'll see I'm right. Maybe you're not right. And that's why they don't listen. And lastly, people say, if I get involved in a community, it's going to be a waste of my time. I got to spend time with my family. I got to learn Torah. I got to do mitzvahs. I have no time to be involved in communal meetings and communal endeavors. So I'm going to concentrate on my family and my learning or whatever, and I'm not going to get involved in the community. On that Hillel said, Al Tomer l'she'efne eshne. When I have time, because I won't devote it to the community, I'll learn. Because where Moshe Feinstein says, just like a person has to give 10% of his earnings to others, he has to also give 10% of his time. And do you think that God will let you benefit from time that you're stealing from the tzibur? Time that you're stealing from the community? So don't say, when I have time, I'll learn. Because maybe if that time is taken off your responsibility to the community, God won't give you the ability to learn. Now let's go back to the medrash that we started with one more Hakdama. The Ein Yaakov, in his Hakdama, brings down a medrash that no one has found the source for. But he says, there's such a medrash. The medrash says like this. Benanes said, I have a sentence that is the umbrella catch-all sentence that represents the whole Torah. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Ben Zoma said, I have a better sentence. V'ohavta re'acha kamocha. And Ben Pazi said, I have a better sentence than both of you. Esakeves echad taseh v'boker, esakeves hasheni taseh bein harbayim. Last week's Edra. Bring one animal, a sheep in the morning, a sheep in the afternoon. These are the daily sacrifices. Think the meaning is following. Shema Yisrael is the catch-all umbrella for all mitzvahs between man and God. God's unity and oneness. And since every mitzvah between man and man is also a mitzvah between man and God, if you have that, you have everything. The second opinion said, no, it's hard to deal with God because you can't see Him. So first you need to deal with people you can see. So v'yohavta re'acha kamocha is the catch-all for all mitzvahs between man and man. But if you know how to treat your fellow man, you know how to treat the Rabbi Shalom too. Rashi says, God is also your re'acha. So you can come from the catch-all mitzvah between man and man to man and God too. That's the way to have the umbrella for the entire Torah. Ben Pazi said sacrifices are communal sacrifices. They teach you how to contribute your unique part. That's what a sacrifice is. Everybody has their unique part to contribute, and that's the keves echad baboker. It represents God's oneness. It represents the oneness of the Jewish people, and that oneness only comes from all the many different parts contributing their unique part. And that's consistent, daily, morning and evening. That is everything. That's what sacrifices are. Now let's go back. Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Rabbi Shalom to appoint a leader. God says leaders are only as effective as the followers want to be followers. But if the followers don't want to contribute their unique part, they don't want to unite and rally around the leader, they don't see any reason for it. They don't want to learn from the leader, follow his example, be willing to be open, to be educated, then the leader is irrelevant. The leader is only as good as the tzibur, as the followers want that leader to be successful. So before you command me to appoint a leader, tell my children how to want to be followers, how to want to bring that communal sacrifice, which includes all the ideas of leadership and following leadership, wanting to get closer to the Rabbi Shalom, wanting to grow, wanting to contribute your unique part towards the common goal, and wanting to be a tzibur, uniting together. All of those, the kahal, the Eidah, Yisrael, is contained in that daily sacrifice. first teach my children how to want a leader, and then the leader can be effective. That's the marshal. The queen tells her husband, take care of our children after I die. And the king says, of course I'll take care of the children, but I can do it for two reasons. One is because you told me to take care of our children. So that's a very artificial thing. But if you tell our children to function with me as a father, then how can I not take care of them? It's an automatic, it's something that is understood, because they're my children and I'm their father. So if they function and address me as their father with the right respect, with the right interest, then of course I will reciprocate. It's better that I should take care of them as a father takes care of his children than somebody who's commanded to do something that's not really his essence. That's what leadership is. And that's why we have a kina for Yoshio HaMelech, because if you don't know how to be a follower, then you can't be a leader either. So if you want to be successful in Kiruv, then you have to know who you have to listen to, and then people will listen to you and be influenced by you if you're open to influence of those who are supposed to influence you. And if we live like that, then we'll see the day when Eliyahu will come. He'll make that ideal situation of leaders and followers in every way. And then we'll reach the day when we won't have to fast anymore, not on Shivasa B'Tammuz, and not on Tisha B'Av, and not on Som Gedalia, and not on Asar B'Teves. And these days will be, instead of Tzomos and fast days, Yiu, L'Sosol, L'Simcha, U'Lemoadim Tovim, B'Vias Kol Tzedek and Herav Yom.